everyone, welcome back to Law Study Kit. I'm Rabia. I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer based in Toronto, and I'm also the founder of Law Study Kit, where we sell resources for NCA exams. If you're interested, you can look at our website, which I will link in the description box below. In today's video, I want to talk about whether you're required to take the English language test as part of your NCA assessment. I'm going to explain to you what the rules are, and you can see if you might be required to take the English test or you might not need to take the test. If you're interested, keep watching. So again, I know I kind of keep referring back to the NCA policy. It's very important that you read the policy because it talks about how the NCA assesses your education, how will the NCA assess you based on your experience and all of the criteria that you need to fulfill. So there is a language requirement that applicants must meet in Canada's two official languages. So Canada's official languages are French and English. So you are required to demonstrate that you obtained your law degree either in a country where French or English was the first language, or that you obtained your law degree in a different country, but your language of instruction was English or French. So just gonna pause here so that you understand what it really means. So let's just say that you studied in a country where English or French is not an official language. For example, I don't know, in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or anywhere. But you went to a school where your degree, your language of instruction was English, and all the tests and exams that you wrote were in English. I would recommend that you get a letter from the university or school that you were in explaining that, your law degree, the language of instruction was English. If you don't do that, the NCA might not believe that your language of instruction was English because, again, it's not an English-speaking country. So keep that in mind before you think about whether you will be required to take an English language test. Now, remember that the NCA can always come back and ask you to take the English language test if they feel like you don't meet the criteria. There's nothing in set in stones. If you get a letter from the university and they still think that, if they still take a look at your entire application, they might ask you to take the language test. But I can't say for sure. It depends on, your background and all of the other things. But just from the rules, it seems that if your language of instruction, your law school's language of instruction is English, then you need to provide them with a letter stating that. Don't assume that the NCA is going to know that, if you're studied in a non-English speaking country, that the language of instruction was English. Don't assume that they know. I'm pretty sure that they don't. You can always provide them with a letter. You can also provide them with some school records, everything that is in English. And I believe that can be sufficient, but at the end of the day, it is NCA's decision. For example, if your law degree is not from an English-speaking country or French-speaking country, and your language of instruction was also not English or French, then you are required to take an English language test. And you can either take IELTS, which is International English Language Test, I believe that's what it's called. International English Language Test. I'm just looking at the policy I have here. It's the International English Language Test that you must take, and it should be within a 3-year period. So it can be older than that. If you're applying for an NCA assessment today, your language test shouldn't be older than 3 years. So make sure that you have that. And what are the requirements? You should score 7 in all the testing areas in IELTS. So 7 in speaking, 7 in reading, 7 in writing, and then the other one is, I believe, writing or listening. Yeah. So that is something that you want to keep in mind. So you will be required to take the English language test. If you're confused and you're not sure as to, oh, like my instruction was in English, I don't know what to do, always contact the NCA and ask them. Or you can always provide a letter from your institution and wait and see that they might ask you for a language test, but don't assume that they're gonna know whatever you think is going on with your application. Always provide an explanation, always provide documentation, always provide the evidence. Just lastly, if you take the English language test and you want to submit it to the NCA, you will have to ask the institution to send them directly to the NCA. You can't get the test results and send it by yourself. It should be directly sent to the NCA just so that they can. It's just the procedures that the NCA has. So this was helpful. I mean, I didn't have to do the English language test when I was applying for an NCA assessment. I actually had no idea that you were required to take the language test. But when I did my research, I found out that you may be required to do one. If you are required to do one, you should do it as soon as possible so that you can apply for the NCA assessment. And again, I think that and I see why the NCA wants to see an English language test is because, again, the goal is to make sure that you are fluent in one of the official languages in Canada, either English or French. And it's very similar to Canadian immigration as well. Like if you're looking to permanently settle in Canada, they always want to test your language ability. So something to keep in mind just in terms of coming to Canada as well. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that this was helpful. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would really, really appreciate your support. Yeah, if you want me to answer any questions, please put them in the description box below. Thanks, guys. Bye.